What's up, everybody? Welcome to our first podcast. That's as much as it. We're your host.
The boy, aka Z, aka the boy.
You're doing too much.
I guess I don't know what to call myself yet. I was looking for a cool name. I'm gonna just say AKA for now.
aka.
hmm
And it's your boy D. We're ready to kick it off with new ideas, wild questions, and to hear your perspectives. So, what's up? What's up, y'all?
What's up with us?
What's up with y'all individually? What's going on? Like, how's the week? Are y'all vibing? What's the?
You see, that's such a loaded question. I feel like I never really know. See, I know y'all gonna
Here
get
we
on
go.
me. Y'all,
All
I know
right.
y'all gonna get on me.
All right.
I feel like that's such a loaded question. I never really know how to answer when people ask me that. Like people say, like, "Oh, like, what are you doing?" I mean, like, when you say, "How am I doing?" Do you mean like? How am I in this current moment in time? How is my
Nigga.
essence as a being?
Nigga.
In general,
How-
bro. Just in general. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Just how are you in general?
Cause like I feel like it's a lot larger question than people really know.
That nigga
they're
doing
asking.
fine. That's
All right.
everybody. That nigga doing
We'll
fine.
come back
He's
to
doing
you.
fine.
All right. We'll give you a couple examples and then we'll come back
Anyways,
to you.
the week was actually pretty boring and then good at the same time. Got a lot done.
Got a lot done, definitely for sure.
Got a lot done that we want to get done. So just moving that process forward, music wise. Work was crazy. You know how work be. Fuck around working for the man and shit.
Working for the man, still doing that shit.
Yeah, still doing that.
Nasty.
I mean, it pays the bills, my nigga.
Hashtag never play the man. I still be paying the bills. I ain't never
Still
worked for
pays the
man.
bills. I don't care.
We out here free out here, bro.
What's going on with you?
What's going on with you, AKA?
Right now,
I mean,
AKA Z.
I'm sipping on
he's-
this angry
there you go.
orchard. You know what I'm saying? The rosé, the pink one. You know
You know
what I'm
what I'm
saying?
saying? The pink one, you know what I'm saying?
Shout out to all my ladies out there. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all my breast cancer survivors. You know what I'm saying?
Breast cancer survivors.
Shout out
That's
to the
good.
breast
That's
cancer
good.
survivors.
That's
for
good
real,
right
though.
there.
But yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just hungry, so I'm eating. If y'all hear me,
Snacking,
slapping my palates
slapping
and
away
whatnot.
at this nigga gonna
You
fuck
know?
up the whole the whole first podcast ruined. You guys gotta start all over.
Gee.
All right, hey guys. Nah, we gonna keep it rolling though.
Anyway.
I mean, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's last few months have been kind of rocky, but things are
Ooh, that's
slowly
an
but-
understatement.
slowly but surely, coming back to normal. Work this week was kind of cool. It was kind of slow, but do what you got to do, live life, make every moment count.
That's facts. Heavy facts.
Nipsey Hussle. I'm sorry, I gotta say this real quick. Nipsey Hussle on his Grammy-nominated album Victory Lap has this amazing line that I just want to throw out to all our listeners out there. That PJ said that just reminded me of that.
No,
he said,
AKA.
or AKA. I'm sorry.
PJ.
I don't know who that was. We're gonna have to cut that out.
Oh.
So AKA said something a little earlier that reminded me of this line that I heard in the song off of Nipsey Hussle's Victory Lap, and the line goes, "I'm drawing a blank."
Oh
Give me
my
a second.
gosh. Oh my goodness.
Give me a
man.
second. I got a lot going on in my mental right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. I'm trying to reconcile. I don't want to paraphrase. I want to look it up neither.
Nigga, look it up, nigga.
Nah, bro.
Because we got a topic for today, though.
I know. I just want to get this thing off real quick. I just want to get this thing off because you know what AKA said. Find your purpose or you're wasting air. Fuck it though, y'all niggas scared. That's what the line said.
Can you
Find
say-
your purpose
There you go.
or you're wasting air. Fuck it though, y'all niggas scared. When I heard that line, it's off the first song off of Victory Lap. It really, really resonated with me about just going out there, striving, getting your goals, like finding your true purpose. Like AKA was saying, the past few months for us has been really, really hectic. I know it's been a while since you guys have heard from us or even had a podcast. And I know as far as like what we've been doing music-wise, production-wise, a lot of you guys have been in the dark, but hopefully, this podcast will be able to bring more things to light, bring you guys more into our world, give you a more in-depth overview about what we're doing on a day-to-day or a week-to-week kind of basis. And just keep you guys as informed as possible and hopefully just help everyone kind of get through this journey that is, life that we're all going through. So yeah, I just wanted to share that and impart some wisdom with you guys. Go ahead.
Man,
Go ahead,
you
Dion.
really could have saved that for the
Go ahead.
end. Can I get into the topic?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But hold on,
Oh
y'all
my
ever?
gosh.
I don't know if anybody speaking about Nipsey Hussle.
This better be
My
good,
boy
bro.
Nip.
This better be good.
We gotta talk about it.
This better
Is
be
it
good.
just me or do he look like he could be Lloyd's daddy?
Lloyd's daddy?
He definitely looks like him and Lloyd, like from the same family tree.
Yeah,
Definitely.
bro.
Definitely. He's one of those niggas, like, he's from, there's like this one place in Africa where niggas like they're born light skinned. Like light skinned black people. Like they're just like, and he's got like this hair texture where it's almost like he's mixed, but no, he's like straight nigga, like straight from Africa. I forget what kind of African he is, but yeah, shout out to those Africans, whatever kind of African Nipsey Hussle is. Shout out to those African. His hair,
All right.
That's probably
always
where I
looking
came
great,
from,
yo.
bro.
Those braids.
Yo, we are talking way too much about Nipsey right
I
now.
know,
This is a
but
lot.
hold up. I gotta give Nipsey a little love though.
Hey,
Like, yo,
hey, let
listen,
the shit flow,
Nipsey's
bro.
braids.
All right, we just doing
Nipsey's
random
braids
stuff out
always.
here.
Oh my god, yo, his joints be his joint make me want to grow my joint out. Knowing damn well I don't got that kind of hair texture, and it would not look like that if I grew my shit out. But goddamn, bro, Nipsey be making me just like, damn, just want to bring it back to
And
2005.
Lloyd be having a long hair shit too. He was actually just on the Breakfast Club the other day.
I seen it.
I didn't get to see it, but I heard part of it on the way to work, and y'all know how I want to be a dad so bad. I want to be a dad so bad. And
AKA
Lloyd was
got
on there
baby
talking
fever,
about how he cried for a week
after his son
after
was born.
was his son or
His
daughter?
son, I think he was talking about his son. I
His
know he has
son?
a daughter and a son. I think that time he was talking about his son.
Okay,
Because that was the one who was just born, I believe.
bro. I'll probably cry for a month, bro.
Probably.
For my daughter, oh my god, I
Sounds
can't
like
wait.
some shit I would do.
I can't wait. Woo! I feel I'm gonna be an overprotective dad.
D-Rock getting mad as hell. Is he like, this whole
I'm not mad.
going off
He's
the
like, I
rails.
planned this whole shit out, and
you're
nobody
not
want to
doing
listen.
nothing.
Gita.
All right. Let's go.
You see,
Boom,
next time
boom.
don't
Topics.
plan.
Let's go.
Next time we just wing it.
Topics. We here.
That's wild.
We in here, bro. Let's go.
All right. Anyways, topic of discussion. Breakups. I guess.
Dun, 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 dun. I mean, I know a lot of you guys out there might think, oh my God, wow, such an overused topic or an over talked about topic. But I think between the three of us, we can provide a pretty interesting nuance to this conversation.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. I mean, we just bring a whole different feel onto it. I mean, how we think is not how everybody else thinks, and maybe we share the same ideas, or perspectives. So, and I guess that's what this podcast is about. It's about hearing our perspectives and yours. So, the topic, breakups. How to get over a breakup, or what's the steps after a breakup?
You gotta start
how
fucking.
do you get back into society?
Get a Kit Kat bar.
You've been in this relationship throughout this, duration, and you don't know what life is. You haven't been about that life. You've been about that, that partnership. You've been about that, that what do you call this? I forgot what you call it. Domestic life.
That domestic life. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Can we for a second? Oh, we got to break down some terminology here for all of our new, incoming viewers or people that just don't
Everybody
know
is
what's
new.
What are you talking about?
Everybody is new.
Everybody's new.
Probably. Yeah, most likely.
I'm
Most
terrible.
likely.
You see, I got that. I already got the YouTuber syndrome where I'm talking like there's already millions of people
We'll
watching,
get into the-
knowing damn well it's just gonna be us and like two of our friends.
Well,
watching
yeah,
this
man, that's
for the
the
first
point.
like 30.
It don't
ones
matter.
that we
We
drop.
gonna grow
but it's
from
all
here.
it's all good though.
It's all good.
But yeah, we're gonna break down some terminology. So yeah,
Domestic life.
Domestic life. So there's something that I like to talk about all the time, and that's domestic life. And domestic life for me is the point in time when you're in a relationship with somebody. This is usually past about the 2 to 3 month mark. This is like ending the cupcake phase. You're kind of getting more engrossed into the relationship. You've been spending a considerable amount of time with each other. And at this point in the relationship, you're spending time at their house. They're spending time at your house or wherever
Y'all
it is that you
spending
stay.
a lot of time.
Weeks at a time.
Waking up together.
You're waking up together. You're making breakfast together. You're making like you are literally arranging your life.
Some of y'all know
like
what we talk about.
Your lives.
Some of y'all know what we
together.
talk about. Some of y'all
don't.
Some of y'all even in there right now.
Some of y'all in there right now.
You over here listening to this podcast,
Yep,
Some of
resting
y'all
your
like
bed right now.
Some of y'all like, damn, I didn't even know that was a part of dating.
Shit.
It's okay. It's okay.
Domestic life. I'm a huge fan of domestic life. My homies hear me talk about it all the time. I feel like that's one of the best places to be in a relationship. When you
ain't
turn
hear,
over,
when you ain't hear from your nigga in about like 3 months, and it's just like, yo, what the hell is this nigga doing?
He's in love.
What the hell is this nigga at?
He's in love, bro. This nigga out here making breakfast. This dude's out here going to the park, planning picnics and shit. Picnics,
I guess,
bro. Like this dude never, ever talks about.
This nigga out here talking about.
Next
I want to fold clothes for you. I want to make you feel good.
On this J. Cole shit, bro. But yeah, talking about folding clothes, going to picnics. You see pictures on the gram, like what? What kind of nigga is this? He's a whole new nigga.
Yeah, you never met this nigga. But I mean, that's not the point. The point is breakups. What happens after that? I mean, like getting out of that phase. Like, how hard is that for people? Like you've
transitioning when you like for a while being in domestic life. You know what I mean? Like this person's damn near your like damn near married.
Your other half, bro.
Like
they've been handling most of your things for you. You don't even shop for yourself no more.
You know,
that's the thing.
I was listening to this podcast.
You sound like that
after 3 months. Goddamn.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even know what I like to wear no more. Shit.
I was listening to this podcast by Amanda Seales. Shout out to Amanda Seales. And she said something that really resonated with me when it came to breakups. And she said, one of the things that make breakups really hard is that it's like you're building your own world with this person.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what like domestic life really is. Like you're building this little world. You're doing things together. You're coordinating your schedules together. Like you're building a life. You guys have inside jokes. You guys have things that are particular to you and your unit, like your union. And having to dismantle that sucks a lot. And it's hard, you know, despite what kind of, you know, relationship that it could have been, you know. Clearly we're talking about, generally speaking, a relationship that was mostly positive. We're not talking about extreme cases where, you know, bad things going on in those relationships. Just a disclaimer, if you're in a relationship that's like that, seek help, contact someone, get out of that shit. But yeah, generally speaking, we're talking about, you know, a relationship where, you know, you and a person just don't see eye to eye, or for whatever reason, you know, you break things off. And yeah, it can be really, really hard in the beginning stages because, you know, the first thing that most people have to go through is, it really depends. If you're the person that's being broken up with, that's really, really hard because this world that you spent so much time and put all this time, effort, energy, money into creating is being torn apart, and it doesn't feel like and it wasn't torn apart by you. It wasn't your choice to tear this world apart. But now all of a sudden you woke up and you found out that the world that you spent all this time building is being deconstructed.
And most likely, if you're the person that you know that you're the person that's breaking up with the other person, you know, most likely you've already had your time. You haven't tried to sit
most
down,
likely, you've
think
already had
about
your time.
Think about what exactly that you wanted. Know that you didn't want to be with this person anymore. You know, mentally, you know, getting over that person, and you know, it's likely easier for that person to. I mean, it seems like it.
It seems like it,
they
but
go
you
through
know
the
what,
same
though?
thing. Exactly.
You know what though? I feel like usually happens with the person that is the one that breaks up with the other person. It's like a delayed reaction. I definitely agree with what you say when someone decides to break up with you. Listen, they've been lamenting this thing for a while. They've been thinking about this thing. They didn't put like 3 weeks of effort and thought. They didn't talk to their friends, their mama, their therapist, everybody
before they came
to you about this.
So it seems like a lot. I know.
So yeah, at that moment, I feel like the person that's doing the breaking up can seem like, oh, you know, like they're detached from the situation. They're not gonna feel it. But if you've ever been the person that's had to break up with somebody, later on you feel it. It's like a delayed reaction. You know, you'll think that everything's cool, everything's hunky-dory. Even sometimes you feel like, you know, me and this person, for whatever reason, just couldn't work it out. Irreconcilable differences, whatever. And you'll find that some time will pass, and then, you know, next thing you know, you'll find yourself thinking about this person. Times you had, things that you did, and you'll find yourself missing that person. And not being with that person is going to hurt because, again, it's a two-way street. To know that there was this world that you spent all this time building that's being dismantled, it hurts. It sucks a lot.
And I know each of us here have been either, you know, the breakup person or the, you know, the one being broken up with.
The broken up or the
breaking
the breaking
the breaky and the breaker.
And the breaker. The breaker and the breaky. The breaker and the breaky.
The breaker and the break, or is it the breaky and the broken?
Ooh. I like that one just because it's cinematic and it's sound. The breaky
and the broken.
The broken.
And the broken.
The
that
bro,
shit-
I mean the broke. No,
that
no,
shit
no. The
sounds
broken
like-
sounds
bro,
better.
That shit sounds like
Yeah,
like
yeah.
TV.
Mhm. That could be a
Breaking
movie
Broken.
actually.
Sundays at 7 p.m.
Oh my lord.
5 p.m. Central.
All right. Anyways,
It's too early. That's too early.
Only on Lifetime.
Gotta be at
Shout out to
like
Mike.
11.
the point is, it's hard. it's hard on both ends. I know how it feels, and I think each of us know how it feels to be on either side of the
Do
playing
you
field.
know what it feels like?
Okay.
Shout out to my boy.
When no one understands you. All right. You know, as a person who's actually recently been through a breakup, I feel like we gotta talk about it. I'm gonna be sparing with the details.
Please.
I'm gonna be I know, I
Please.
know. I'm gonna be sparing with the details. All right, because you know that there's a real person involved. You know, I'm not trying to blow anybody up. I'm not trying to, you know, quote unquote expose anybody. That's not what I'm into. I'm not trying to paint this person in a negative light. I don't want this person to feel like, you know, I have any animosity or anger towards this person, because currently at this current point in time in my life, right, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm actually in a relationship. I'm doing good. I'm great. So
This nigga. Alright, go ahead, bro.
but I want to talk about I want to talk a bit about you know, relationships breaking up, because you know it's something that I went through somewhat recently, and giving my kind of perspective on it. So what happened is, you know, I was with this person. I was with them for about 6 months, and again, like we broke up. It came out of the blue. You know what I'm saying? I got that text. Everybody knows that text.
Oh,
You know
that
what I mean?
text, man.
You know the text. You
Oh,
know
we-
exactly what the text
Oh,
is.
we
The
need to
text says,
talk. You know,
we need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need
We
to
need to
talk.
talk. And you know what's so frustrating about that we need to talk text? You might as well just say we need to break up.
We
You
need
know
to
why?
break- please.
Because I already know that that's what you mean when you said that. Because no
Please,
one
just
ever
tell me.
says anything positive
Just tell me.
after the phrase we need to talk. Never in the history of ever has someone said, hey, we need to talk. By the way, you're doing a great job in this relationship.
Exactly.
I
You
just
know what I'm
want-
saying?
That's never what happened.
Never to give it a positive review. Nobody does that.
Never.
Why don't you step into your boss never be like, yo, step into my office real
Step
quick.
into my office.
He don't
and
talk
then
to you
there's good
silently.
news.
You know what
Never.
I'm saying? For
Never.
good news.
That's not necessarily true, but
So,
okay.
okay, all right, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, sometimes the boss, you know, just wanna build the suspense, build the tension. You think you're about to get fired, he's like, ha ha.
Yeah,
Put the bag in your hand.
Well,
I don't
if you
think anybody
that
ever
type
tries
of
to build
boss,
suspense
if
in
you that type of
relationships.
boss, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna be like, nigga, you need to stop doing that shit. And you tell me what it is and what it ain't.
Yeah, man, I got that text. I got that text, and you know, obviously, you know, being a person that's got like anxiety, the minute I got that text, my heart's thumping, it's beating a million miles a minute. I need to know what's going on. Now my mind's I mean, if you're a man, I feel like most men do this. The minute your girl tells you we need to talk, instantly your mind starts replaying everything you did in the past week, the week before. You're like, oh shit, what did I fuck up? What did I do? What did I say? What did I do? That has got me in this hot water right
We
now.
need
So
to
in my
talk.
mind, I'm trying to
I
think.
knew I should have never looked at that bitch yesterday. Goddamn, she knows.
So I'm trying to think to myself like, yo, what did I do? What did I do? And I'm thinking, I'm like, nigga, I didn't do nothing. I didn't do anything.
Boy out here talking
So-
like Shaggy. It wasn't me.
So, you know, we get on the phone call and we talk, and I mean, basically, to make a long story short, she's like, yo, we gotta break up. And I'm like, why? Because my whole thing is I wasn't necessarily trying to fight the breakup. I just want to know why. Because for me, I'm weird in the sense that I'm very like analytical. I need to know things about other people, but also myself. I feel like if I'm in a relationship with someone and we're breaking up, clearly it's because there's some kind of flaw with the relationship, or me specifically. So if we're breaking up, I want to know why. Because if it's a character flaw, I want to know how I can adjust that in the future. So when it comes to other relationships, dealing with other people, I don't make the same mistake again. So I'm trying to get information.
But that's not for most people. Most people just like, I mean, not most people, but some people like to be like, you know, why? I want to know why. Why are you breaking up with me? I want us to work things out in that way, like, and that's not necessarily healthy. I mean, if somebody doesn't really want to be with you, I mean,
don't get me wrong. At that point in time, I definitely, there was definitely a part of me that wanted to work things out, because for me, it wasn't really making sense as to the reason of why we were breaking up. I didn't really feel like the reason was all that valid. I'll keep that reasoning but to myself, because again, I don't want to get into all the idiosyncrasies. I'm not trying to blow up, you know, this person's spot or anything like that. But for me, I felt like the reasoning wasn't really like holding up. I was looking like, when I ask somebody a question, I'm looking for a steak answer. I want an answer that feels like a steak. I don't want an answer that feels like flatbread. You know what I mean? I want to be satisfied with the answer that I get. And I felt like I just wasn't satisfied. It wasn't really making a lot of sense to me. But at the end of the conversation, we were on the phone for maybe 40 minutes. And at the end of the conversation, I just ended it with, if you think that this is what's best, if this is what you want, clearly you called me because you made your decision. I'm not going to fight with you on the decision that you've already made. And I think that's also another thing that going into breakups, if you're the breakup if you're the broken, what do you call it? The broken? Or
the breaky?
The breaky is the person that is doing the breaking up.
The broken.
Okay.
Okay,
yes.
So if you're the broken.
If you're the broken.
If you're the broken.
Oh, I'm the broken.
If you're the broken, I feel like there's a lot we can do moving forward about accepting breakups a lot better. And something that I feel like most people do when it comes to breakups is, obviously, it's not a easy thing to handle. Like I said, when you're building a whole world with someone, it's scary or it's alarming when all of a sudden you wake up and you find out there's a huge wrecking ball going through this world you're making. It's like, oh shit, like what the fuck just happened?
I also
Everything
feel
was
like
great a minute ago.
It's a maturity level too, how you handle it is all like, I can remember, when I was younger, like handling a breakup is like, yeah. And then it's all like handling a breakup is all like, you know what? Now I gotta be logical about this whole thing.
I gotta be logical about this.
I gotta be like, yo, like for real, what's the deal? We're adults. Let's discuss
We're adults, and
what I'm saying?
at the end of the phone call, I came to the conclusion of, I'm having a conversation with somebody that I clearly love, obviously, and that's what's hurting me the most. But if this person who I love is telling me that they don't love me anymore, they can't be with me, like if I really love this person or if I really care about this person, but moreover, if I really care about myself, like I should allow this person the independence to do what they see fit based with their life. I feel like something a lot of people don't understand about love is about freedom. Love isn't about possession. You see, what makes love so powerful is the fact that people have the option to refuse it. You love that girl that likes you so much because when you first met her in the club looking all fine, she looked at you versus everybody else. And you know that every day you were with that girl, she made an active decision to choose you. And that's what makes it feel special. But you know that everything revolving choice is duality. It's about two things, about yes and no.
Yes and
She
no.
can also choose to not. And that's something that we also need to accept, I feel like, when it just comes to not only just relationships or breakups, but just people in general.
But all of that, it's easier said than done.
Definitely easier said than done. But, at that moment, I wanted to be emotionally volatile, but I realized that just wouldn't be the most effective thing to do in that moment. I realized I wouldn't get across, the point that I was trying to get across. Like it wouldn't translate well. So what I said was like, yo, if that's your decision, I'm not going to fight you with you on your decision. I've made my case as to why I feel like, our relationship is worth salvaging. If you don't feel that way, there's nothing else I can say about that. Then it is what it is. Then I guess this is where we stand. And that was that. And don't get me wrong. As mature as all that sounds, like you guys probably listen like, oh wow, that's amazing. You probably walk back into things. When I walked back into my apartment after that phone call, I was definitely feeling the way. My homie can attest to this. I definitely walked back to the room and I was like, yo, listen.
This nigga was crying. Balls, tears, my guy. I'm joking. But
but I was definitely distraught. I was definitely distraught. You could tell this. And I called my homie into the room, and I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to talk about everything that I had, she had just told me and what I was feeling, what I was experiencing, and it felt so good to get all of it out. It felt so good because I felt like in that conversation, I felt almost as if, I was voiceless. I feel like most people that are the broken, they feel voiceless or helpless in that scenario because, it's happening to you. You don't really have a say in it. When someone's breaking up with you, you don't have a say in it. It's not like someone's like, hey, I would like to break up. Yes or no? They're not asking for your approval. They're telling you. They're telling you, no, this isn't working. And you just have to accept it. And I feel like that's the part that's hard for a lot of people. You don't want to accept like, hey, this thing that I just spent all this time, effort, energy, money into, it's over. And I got to deal with that. It's hard.
Have you ever experienced like being with somebody and then them telling you like, you trying to be, the breaky, right? You're the breaky, and they're like, no, we're not breaking up. And I've had
that happen to me once.
I've been in that situation. It's just awkward. It's like, what do you mean no? Like I want to go. Like, what do you mean no?
That happened to a friend of mine. Shout out to Andre. He was telling me the story
Dang, bro.
about this girl. I
Dang,
had
bro,
no
you
idea
gonna
this
let
girl's name.
the man tell the story
Nah,
whenever
he
he
would,
tells
he,
the
would, he
story.
would love for me to tell the story.
Lord.
He tells this all the time. He's a master storyteller. Shout out to AC holding it down in the DMV. But
In the DMV.
yeah, bro, that's where he's from. What?
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, man. I don't know the terms, man.
You don't know.
I don't know the terms.
Right? My boy AC, he was telling me about this time, he was dating this girl. This girl was very abrasive. Their relationship started off kind of like, this girl kind of just came up and was like, hey, you my boyfriend now. And he was like, oh, hi. And it was cool for a while until he was like, yeah, I'm not feeling this. He walks up to her one day and he's like, hey, I don't think this is working out. I think you're a cool person. I think we can be friends, but I don't think we should date. And she was like, no.
Nah. See,
and he was like,
see, shit like that, man. It's just like, yo, what the fuck,
she was like,
bro?
No, we're
That's
not breaking
wild.
up.
That is wild.
And they dated it for another 2 weeks. They dated for another 2 weeks, but nah. Eventually, he was like, okay, but for real, like,
I need to go. I need to go. I need to go.
He was eventually able to dead it.
He
But
came.
yeah, that shit's weird.
That's wild. I mean, I guess the real point is, I mean, knowing the fact that breakups are hard, and for the breaky and the broken.
For the breaky and the broken, the broken.
What are the steps into I mean, you came from this world where you were with this person, you were living that domestic life every single day. How do you get back to you? That phase has to be pretty hard. What would you guys say? What do you think the best way? Because I've heard the best way to get over a breakup instantly is to right off the bat find somebody else.
I don't think that's not.
I think that's maybe. I think that's maybe the worst.
Yeah.
Advice about how to get over a breakup. Honestly, I don't think you should move on to another person until you've fully healed the wound that.
But we're even talking about
dismantling this world. With
maybe
this person,
maybe
again,
like a quick little. Maybe like a quick little,
you
know what I'm saying?
You can get off a little quick, but you have to be very aware of what you're doing, though. You have to be very aware, because I think a slippery slope some people can fall into is, oh, I'm single now, I'm back in the crowd, like I'm gonna fuck my feelings away. And listen, any kind of, if you're trying to substitute what you're feeling by partaking in any particular activity, whether it's the abuse of a substance or even the abuse of other people's bodies or even your own body, the outcome is never going to be positive. You've got to be very, very aware of what you're doing. I know for most people, while breaking up, sure, you want to go out there, you want to prove to yourself that, you still got it. You're still attractive. You can still be in the game, and that's all good. But be very aware of where you are. Don't get too caught up in it. Don't become too self-indulgent in that lifestyle, because you can find yourself in a worse place than where you probably were before, trying to fill the void or clog this hole where you feel like this person might have left you. You've got to do that self-healing on your own. Nothing's gonna fill that hole other than you. Mm-hmm. Alcohol's not gonna do it, drugs not gonna do it, people, pussy, penis is not gonna do it. It's gotta be you. You've gotta go back, take the time for yourself, assess, sit back, think, reevaluate. And again, nothing's wrong with dating other people, seeing other people, or maybe smashing a person here or there. But be very aware of where you are, your mental state, what's going on.
AK, you was gonna say something?
I can't remember what I was gonna say.
Oh damn! You was about to say some logical shit now.
I mean, yeah, but I can't remember what it was.
Lyrical individual in your swimming pool.
Yeah. I'm okay. So if that's not the right thing, if that's not the right way, then what's the steps? Like, if we were to just jot this down,
go through the 5 stages of grief.
Write this down in terms of steps. Like, how do we get over most breakups? I mean, I know every situation is different. You know what I'm saying? He cheated on you. He lied to you, or she lied to you. She cheated on you. They said some foul shit to your mother or something. I don't know. I was gonna say kill, but I think I think it's a little bit too far.
That's definitely.
I ain't never heard no boyfriend or girlfriend killing somebody.
I mean, there's what?
I mean,
there's a million. What?
I mean, I haven't heard.
There's a million.
I haven't heard.
Cases
but the
about
point
is
is how do we get over it?
How do we get over it? I think most people, you've got to go through the 5 stages of grief. You have to. Like, whether Whether you think that's the best way to go about it or not, your human nature, your human, like, because you're human, you're going to go through it anyway. But I think, again, going back to just being aware, if you're aware of where you are in the 5 stages of grief, it'll help with the transition period a lot more. Like, the first stage is obviously denial, the second, anger, the third, bargaining, the last, depression, and then, well, the second to last, depression, and then the last, acceptance. So those are the stages of grief. I think, yeah, speaking to most people, that's kind of what most people go through when they feel through a breakup. The first part is like, nah, bro, this can't be happening. Second part is, I'm mad as fuck. Fuck this bitch or fuck this nigga. The third thing is bargaining, like, what can I do? Like, can I do this? Maybe if I did this. If I did this, this would be better. Or maybe if I did this. Or maybe, maybe there's still a chance. The next thing right after that is, hitting that low. That low of like, damn, I'm not with them. I remember all the times we had together, all the things that we did. We're not together anymore. That sucks. You get into that sulk, that depression mode. You get sad. You're thinking about them all the time. But then eventually, out of that very low valley that you've entered in, you eventually get that peak, and that's acceptance.
And I think,
and that's the point where everybody should strive to get to. You should acknowledge the fact that you're going to go through the 5 stages, but you should know that your goal is acceptance. Your goal should be accepting what has happened. Because I feel like for most people, because again, denial is the first part. Like, going through that, having to tear apart that world is hard. So your brain's going to do a bunch of different things to try to make you cope with that. But the most important thing is you have to accept it. Accept it as truth. Accept that as reality. Because the thing that makes breakups hard is because your brain is almost like not computing what's happened. Because, for most people, breakups kind of happen out of the blue. So it's like your brain goes, this person loved me yesterday, and now they don't love me anymore. How is that? Your brain is having this thing where it's like, I don't understand. I can't process this. I just spent all these months, all of this time, all this effort, energy, money into this person. All of these good things were happening. Why has this happened? I don't think that this should happen. This isn't what should be happening. So denial naturally is the first step that most people are going to go through. But the point that everyone should try to strive to is acceptance. Accept what has happened. Accept that, yeah, this person, you might have had a lot of really great times. And, you might have really good chemistry with this person. But for whatever reason, this person doesn't want to be with you. Or, the relationship just isn't working. And you have to accept that. You have to accept that, this isn't happening. This person I want to be with doesn't want to be with me. Accept it. And once you accept that, you're really going to be able to,
I think what's most important, not only like what you're saying, like going actually with the steps and following through.
Yeah, you got to go through it.
But I think it's also taking the time within those steps to fully go through it. Like, if it's all right, I got to sit here and cry or, think about everything, do that to the fullest extent. Like, do that. Think about it, whatever it is what happened, think about what you did, what you could have improved, or, or what they did to you, or so on and so forth. Take that time. Like, I think each step deserves its special, attention.
I don't know if I agree with the whole 5 steps of grief thing, and maybe I do, and
what?
It's just a different way. For me,
That's just...
I have this philosophy that I've had over the last,
AKA the philosopher,
couple years.
That should be my nickname. I'm the philosopher on this podcast.
And all right, so nigga, you've had all this time to talk, bro.
Keep
like,
going.
come on now.
And by the way, I'm gonna let y'all know this right now, bro. Lamar got the words for you. That's gonna happen in this podcast. I just letting y'all know full forward.
Anyway, so yeah, for me, I personally, I guess maybe it's like I'm thinking about what should happen versus what does happen, but the philosophy that I have over the last couple of years, it was, and actually Derek came up with this, or sorry, D came up with this, came up with this hashtag, and it's no expectations 2019. So basically, when you get into a relationship, or for any aspect of your life, it's like, don't have any expectation of, this person is always going to be here, or this person is going to do me wrong. Understand that any possibility can happen. That's not to say that, you always have to be doubtful or anything like that. Like, carry on with your life as you would normally. But understand that this person can choose to leave, like a Z, or the boy,
The boy,
or I guess the philosopher.
the philosopher.
Like,
Goodness gracious, man. This man's gonna have 3 names by the end of this podcast. This man's gonna have 3 names:
Oh my gosh,
the philosopher, Z, and the boy.
gosh, just call him Name God. Um, yeah. So like he was saying, love is a choice. That's free will. So you have to.
You
I
gotta
think
accept
the
terms of
sooner
freedom.
the sooner that you put that in your mind that this person can stay and this person can go,
leave.
the easier
The easier
that
it'll
the
be.
breakup will be.
Mhm.
That's not to
Mhm.
say the breakup is going
Not
to be
gonna hurt.
easy.
Hell no.
It's gonna hurt.
Hell yeah.
But I think the most important thing when that breakup happened is to take time for yourself. Understand what it was that happened. Sit back and analyze, like, all right, was I the person that did something wrong? Were they the person that did something wrong? How could I prevent this from happening again? Analyze if you would be willing to take this person back. Communication is a huge thing. So I'm not only saying to communicate with the person that you were in the relationship with, but more importantly, communicate with other people. Get other perspectives. Try and figure
Exactly.
out, all right, well, I'm seeing this in this particular way. Maybe if I talk to a couple other people, they can give me a different vantage point. Maybe my partner was trying to tell me something, and the way that they were telling me, it
Didn't
just
sink
didn't
in.
get through to me.
Mhm.
So maybe if I talk to somebody else, a best friend, a parent, family member, maybe they can get to me. They can get through to me, and maybe they saw something that has been around for years, and this person, the partner that you were with, they've been experiencing it, and that family member could be like, oh yeah, you've been doing this, and you have a pattern of this ever since you were young, and it's like, oh, all right, and maybe I have to do some self-analysis, you know. But yeah, for me personally, man, I take everything as it comes, as it is, for what it's worth, So if someone breaks up with me, I'm just like, all right, well, this thing has happened, and I have to accept that. The sooner I accept that, the easier it will be over time. Me sitting here and denying that this thing has happened, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna help anybody. It's not gonna help me. It's not gonna help them. You know, and just because you accept that this thing has happened doesn't mean that you didn't care. I know a lot of people out there. They'll say, if you don't show your emotion in this particular way, that means you didn't care. That's not true.
I had somebody
I
tell me
even,
that
you
shit,
know what?
man.
I even think the same is true in the opposite side.
Mm.
I think there are even some people that will say, like, you can be you can emote too much about a relationship. And I would say, like, the same thing. Like, yeah, there's no such thing as emoting too much or not emoting enough. I mean, it's like you're gonna emote how you emote depending on the level of relationship, how much you feel like you were personally committed, and nobody should ever feel like wrong or shamed about the way that they choose to express how they feel about a relationship.
I had somebody tell me, I'm not going to tell, but I had somebody tell me, like, hey man, we're done. I was like, I literally text that, and I know some of you look like, damn bro, like you shouldn't have just said
Sad.
alright. But I was just like, alright man, like it kind of, I processed, I looked at the text, because I got it through text, so I was like, yeah, I looked at the text, and I was just like, that sucks. I guess, like, what the fuck? I was mad, but I guess I didn't want to show her that, so I was just like, okay. And she got mad at me. She said, "What do you mean, just okay? That's all you have to say?" I mean, yeah. I don't know what you want me to say. I'm not
A
gonna beg for
situation
you
like
back.
that is like you text me to break up with me that we're done. What more do you want me to say?
Oh my goodness, man.
What more do you want me to say?
But
Like,
yeah.
situation like that, bro. Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah, PJ, I mean, AKA, dang, bro. You know what? People
All
gonna
our
end up
names,
knowing what
boy,
the.
easy. Oh yeah, the whole world know who we are now.
I think we're saying some of the same things, but I see how different they are.
It's just a matter of perspective, really.
Exactly, and it's not only like understanding what it is that that person's feeling. It's being okay with what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, being okay with like, oh, I'm being
acceptance.
the broken right now, and it's understanding that person wants to leave me because they're not happy anymore.
It's understanding that this is a part of dating. It's a part of being in a relationship. Like, I think that thing is so wild to me. Like,
you gotta know that it's a numbers game.
Yeah,
you gotta
like,
know that it is that's the most important thing to take away from relationships. They say that on average, what is it? Most women will kiss about 22 men.
Mm-hmm.
They will go on 8 dates. They will have 2 long-term relationships before they find the person that's the quote-unquote one, or the person that they end up marrying or settle down with.
Is that for only women, or is that just both?
That's a
men
statistic that was done on women specifically.
Okay.
I feel like for men, the numbers aren't too far off. It's about like the same. Some places it's more skewed as far as like dates or number of kisses, but relatively speaking, it's about the same.
Okay.
But I mean, I say that to reinforce the point, like, it really is a numbers game. You've got to understand that every relationship is not going to pan out. You know, you should go into every relationship hoping that it does. There's a really good friend of ours that has this saying where he looks at all relationships like, either we're going to get married or we're going to break up. Mm-hmm. And it's either going to be one or the other. Mm-hmm. And that's the way that I feel like people should look at it. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to walk into every situation knowing that both things are true. Mm-hmm. As much as I like you, the possibility that we can break up is a still real possibility. Mm-hmm. So as much as things could be good, I still have to keep that thought somewhere tucked in the back burner. I'm not saying walk around being like, cloud over your head, like, damn, the one day this chick or this dude is gonna get me. And I gotta be ready. I'm not saying do that, but I'm saying we should be mindful. Yeah. We should be aware.
I was gonna say, please say that, because I know people are just gonna be like, oh, word, I got my guard up way up high. I'm gonna stack my bricks.
That's what I said earlier. It's like it's a part of not having any expectations. Mm-hmm. You know, like the example that I like to give a lot is, if I ask you a question, can I have this juice? Mm-hmm. You can tell me yes or you can tell me no.
You have to be prepared for both answers.
Both. I can't get upset if you told me no just because I wanted you to say yes. You asked a question. Be ready for an answer.
Mm-hmm. An answer can be one or the other, And people in relationships are just like that. It's gonna be one or the other, man. Either that girl or that guy is gonna be the one you spend with, or that person is gonna be, an X, another number. Basically. But you've got to know that ultimately it's a numbers game. If you keep playing it, eventually you're gonna hit the jackpot. Eventually, and it's gonna take time. And in between that time, depending on the level of relationships, will there be lots of lows? Will there be extremely dry periods? Of course there are. But again, you gotta understand it's a numbers game. So
take that time, reevaluate what went on in the relationship. Evaluate yourself. Get yourself together.
Get to know who you are.
Talk to as many people about the situation as possible. Get as comfortable about it. And even if you need that closure, whether it may be with the person or just just talking about it with a friend, like how Z was explaining earlier. Do that. It's don't be afraid to talk about it. I know a lot of people don't want to talk about how they feel or.
Yeah, that's another thing, man. People that say that, showing my feelings makes me weak. I think it's the exact opposite. I think if you're able to be emotionally vulnerable and express yourself, that makes you a very, very strong person.
That's why I cry all the time.
Wow.
I'm the strongest person.
I don't cry all the time.
Tears does not equal strength. That is not a direct correlation.
I am not trying to cut pussy out of my life. What are you talking about? I cry all the time. People are going to see me talk about this nigga's a bitch. This nigga's a bitch.
Nah, bro. I love being... I feel like something that a lot of people can say about me is I'm definitely the kind of person that I believe a lot in authenticity. I believe in saying, being, expressing yourself in its truest form.
You got that certificate of authenticity.
And yeah, that's a fuck.
I don't know what. I don't know.
Nigga, this on you, bro.
Hold on.
She's got B.O.
She's got B.O. Inside joke, man. Fuck,
man.
Bro.
Yeah, that's but you family guy joke.
We're talking about being emotionally vulnerable. Yes. Yeah, emotional vulnerability. I definitely think that as a character trait, like that's one of the strongest things that you can display as a person, especially and cool extra points if you can display emotional vulnerability while being a man. Because we live in a society that for a very long time has perpetuated this idea that men need to be hard,
Hell
they need to
yeah.
be emotionally constipated.
Hell yeah.
You just need to go through life with grit, just grit your teeth through everything, just take everything that's thrown
Hell
your way.
You
yeah.
want to know the crazy thing though? There's a lot of women that have that same mentality, now, though.
too, boy. Oh, cause they've
And
been
they have
broken,
that
bro.
same exact mentality.
They've been
and it's
broken,
like,
bro.
And,
yo,
you know,
we're taking steps back. Like
Mhm.
this induces a lack of communication. It induces like all your emotions being pent up, and you know, it's like denying
communication.
yourself,
Mhm.
denying the situation that you may be going through.
Will cause like, oh man, it can adversely affect your life in a series of ways if you're not a person that's willing to be, emotionally honest about what it is that you're going through, what you're feeling, because these emotions have to be expressed in one way or another. There's a really great book that I love to read all the time. It's pretty short. It's called As a Man Thinketh, and one of the things in that book is there's a line that says the mind is like a garden, and a garden will produce fruit, and it will produce the thoughts. Your mind garden will produce the things, obviously, that you think about. And if you do not tailor your thoughts, if you do not mind your garden, it's going to produce fruit regardless. It's up to you, depending on the kind of fruit you want to produce. A good tree can only produce good fruit. A bad tree can only produce bad fruit. You are the cultivator of your own thoughts, of your own mind. It's like if you might think that as a person that, yeah, I'm keeping all my feelings in, but it's not affecting on the outside. I guarantee you it is, because thoughts manifest into behaviors.
Facts.
Behaviors manifest into action.
Facts.
These things will seep through in your life. You might think that it's not seeping through, but it's seeping through. You think that nobody can see that you're hurt? You think that nobody can't see that thing that you're going through? I guarantee you, in one way or another, it is manifesting in your life. It's showing itself in your life, whether you want to admit it or not. So it's up to us to be good gardeners, to cultivate good thoughts, which will then cultivate good behaviors, which will cultivate good actions.
Open up that conversation, man.
And
Like,
another thing. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, open up that conversation. I mean, I was getting down to the point where that, like, talk about it, communicate with people, talk about it, and then try to get yourself together. Try to collect everything that you have put into that relationship and bring it back. Because remember, you were you before you met this other person. You're a whole person.
Never forget that. That's also another thing that all can affect relationships. Because again, when you build that world with somebody, sometimes another thing that also feels like it happens, it feels like you and this person almost become one person.
Yep.
Like you and this person become attached, joined at the hip. And when you split from that person, it's like, you're tearing that apart. So sometimes something that can happen in relationships, people can feel like they lose themselves. Something that you should do in that meantime, in between time, when you're working on yourself and trying to get back on your feet, is really start engrossing yourself back in the things that make you you. Do the things that you love. If you're a person that, if you're an artist, make more art. If you're a musician, make more music, go out, walk, talk to friends. Like, do all the things that make you you, that make you happy.
And that's why, just
again.
a quick thing, that's why I said so many times,
But more important,
get to know yourself.
Get to know yourself.
Get
Facts.
to know yourself. Whenever you get into this relationship, and then if God forbid whatever happens, y'all break up and it fails, go back to yourself. You're gonna always have you.
You're always gonna have you.
You're always
At the
gonna
end of the day,
have you.
You gotta have you, and you
gotta
gotta make sure that you's good.
Mm-hmm.
You's good.
You
I'm
can't.
good.
You can't take care of nobody else until you're taken care
Until you
of.
take care
And
of
ain't nobody
yourself,
gonna take care of you like you take care of you. So.
And when you do that, that's actually gonna stop the feeling of, if you find yourself in a situation where you break up with somebody, whether you're either broken, you're going to, if you invest in yourself, if you're a person that doesn't lose yourself in somebody else, you're going to find that, again, breakups is going to be hard, but it's not going to be as hard, as challenging if you don't lose yourself in somebody.
Exactly.
Never lose yourself in someone.
Mm-hmm.
You should never lose yourself in someone. The only person you should never lose yourself in is yourself.
I'm so lost in myself. How you do that?
I'm so mean.
Oh damn.
Yeah. And there's another comment I wanted to make, and this might be a sticky subject, but I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and she was telling me how how she hates it when she hears parents talking down to their kids and stuff like that. So this could be another another factor to consider um with like people's behaviors and why they keep emotions pent up. You don't know what that person has been through in their past and whatnot.
Gee.
And if you don't know who you are, if you don't deal with the issues that you've gone through with your relationships or your past or whatever situation that has caused you to be hurt, and then you have kids, like Z was saying, it's going to show in your life. And kids are a hell of a lot smarter than you think. When they're young, their minds are like sponges. They absorb and they watch everything. And they may not no. Chances are they don't understand why they don't understand what's going on. They don't understand why people are doing what they're doing, why things are the way that they are. But they see and they're like, okay, this person is a person like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I saw mommy do this when this happened and that happened, so that means I need to do it too.
Exactly. So mommy goes through a breakup or daddy goes through a breakup, and they go out and next thing you know, they start bringing these random people to the house, or they just start drinking a lot, or what I'm saying, like that's gonna affect the kid, and then it becomes a generational cycle. You know what I'm saying? Like that can be very, very dangerous. So that's why it's so important to take care of yourself, man.
We're all about breaking cycles. We're all about breaking the stigma. I feel like especially as black people, there's so much generation. There's so much like passed down trauma. Like almost every single black person in America is living with PTSD because of slavery. Like these things that have quite literally been passed down in our genes. Like again, like AKA was saying, like there's so much that we have absorbed just through what we've experienced growing up. There's a lot of us that could be holding on to hurt, that have skewed perceptions on relationships and even breakups just because of things we experienced as a child. The relationship that we first saw with our mother and father. That's most people's first interactions of how a relationship is supposed to be. The interactions with their parents or lack thereof. And these things, affect children. So again, we're all about breaking that cycle. We're all about being the generation that's like, yo, in the past, this is what they were doing, and we see how it's fucking them up. We're not going to continue to do that. We're going to do something different. We're going to get educated. We're going to be more mindful about ourselves and the world around us, and we're going to do things that are actually going to make us better as people and also better as a society.
I was going to say that, like, after, you're done, getting back to yourself, knowing who you are, talking with many people as possible, and you want to get,
back out there.
Get back out there.
It's gonna be hard.
You
because you gonna have that chip on your shoulder. You're gonna be like that.
You left. You don't know what dating is like anymore.
And listen, Amanda Seales also said this. I feel like I also have to give her credit. Because if niggas like, oh my God, that was hilarious, I want to properly give them the credit because we be stealing from black women all the time. Amanda Seales said this, but I think you are genuinely, and this is hilarious. I think you are genuinely over somebody, a past lover, a past relationship, when you can masturbate to them and not feel sad.
What?
I know that.
All right, I didn't even.
But really think about that.
I didn't even know that was coming, guys.
Really think about that.
I'm his boy.
Really,
I don't even know that was coming.
Really think about that though. Really think about that though.
When you can masturbate about them and not cry.
If you can masturbate to the thought of the image of an ex-lover or someone that you used to and not get sad, if you can see their face and not get sad, then I'm like, yep, you're truly over this person.
And dang. My comment was to just about I guess bringing that baggage over, but damn, like I was just like, damn. I mean, when it comes back going into the dating room, like, note that, like, I know that some people like to be like, oh yeah, my ex did this to me, so my next relationship, I gotta make sure that I block this certain part of my life. And it's just like, no,
that's not the way
it
goes.
So how does that work?
People pay for other people's mistakes.
How does that work?
And
Don't
yo, I love this statement.
Don't do that.
I love this statement, and y'all probably heard this before. but it's so simple, but it's so profound. Hurt people, hurt people.
People, exactly,
It's crazy.
exactly.
Hurt people, hurt people.
And it's not like we don't understand how you
Sometimes you
feel.
gotta
Like
let your homie like, yo, you hurt, bro. You
I
hurt.
get it. Like explain it. Even if you're going into the relationship, explain to the person. I just went through this whole thing. So I'm going to try my best to not try to relate that back to you because I know this is different, and I know not all guys are the same. Not generally all guys are the same, but you're different. You're not who I dated before. So it's best that I come into this relationship open-minded, here to learn about who you are and what you have to offer, and note that that's not going to be the same thing that was offered to me in the past, just because you're a guy or you're a girl.
And it's also important for that person to be open-minded and understand that, all right, this person may be coming from another situation.
Exactly.
And also, if they're not okay with that, be communicative, but also sensitive to the situation that person is coming from.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the most sensitive, most rational thing to do in that situation might be, hey, I don't think we should date.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that this should happen because I feel like you still might clearly be, going
Exactly.
through things or maybe even still have feelings for this person. That's also another thing that can happen after breakup. Sometimes you break up with somebody and they left you and they hurt your heart, but deep down you still care for this person. You know that like there's a group of people that after breakups, instead of the reaction that most people have after a certain point of time where it's like, oh, yo, fuck this person, there's a low-key, you linger to have this person back. Mm-hmm. Even if this person did you dirty. Like, if just the thought of this person being like, hey, so what's up? You would drop and you would do anything just to end. Again, this is what I mean by the goal that you should strive for in a breakup is acceptance. Accept what happened. Accept what happened and be ready and willing to move on, to move forward. There are lots of fish out in the sea. There's 7 billion people on this.
Too many. I say this all the time, bro. There's way too many people.
Scientifically speaking,
out
I'm
here.
gonna break down this number for you because when I first heard this shit blew my mind.
Go ahead.
Scientifically speaking, based on the current population of the people that live in the world, if only 1% of the world's population was attracted to you, that would still mean that 7 million people are attracted to you. Come on, my guy.
It's a big old pond, my guy.
Jennifer at your high school, it didn't work out. It's fine.
Who's Jennifer?
It's okay.
Who's Jennifer?
Listen, the audience member that I'm talking to.
Oh, Jennifer knows who we talking about.
Knows exactly.
What's the number again? 7 million?
There's 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah.
If only 1% of the planet's population was attracted to you, that would be 7 million. There would still be 7 million people that are attracted to you.
7 million or 70?
70. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
See, AKA is the number guy. You see, I'm so glad you clarified that because you know what I'm saying. This would have hit the live, and people would be like, "Damn, that nigga dumb as fuck."
But even so, that's
a huge
that's a lot.
number.
That's a huge
That's
number.
too much.
That's a huge.
You don't need
number.
70. You don't need
much.
70 million.
Bro,
I don't need 70 million.
Bro,
I'm good, bro.
Another
I can't
number
handle
that
it.
I found really interesting is scientifically speaking, based on like the kind of chemical reactions that we have in our brains that would dictate who we see as our quote unquote soulmate based on the amount of population of people that exist on the earth, you have the possibility of having over 400 potential soulmates. 400. Like, bro, you were crying over that one girl, over that one guy. Like, yo, fam, it's not the end of the world. It might feel like it. And in that moment, it's fine for it to feel like it. But take a moment, reflect, step back, and then look at the whole picture and realize, hey, no, this isn't the be-all, end-all. This one person that didn't like me or didn't reject me or for whatever reason it didn't work out, it didn't work out. I'm going to accept that. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to find myself again if I've lost myself. I'm going to find myself again. I'm going to reinvigorate all of my passions, all the things that make me me, and I'm going to be good for me just for the sake of it. And you know what's going to happen in time? That new person will come along. And you'll be caught completely off guard. You won't even see it coming. You won't even see it coming. Like, what
Where you at?
What is going on?
Where have you been?
And then, boom.
Boom, you're back in it again.
Back in the game.
Domestic life.
Back in the saddle. Domestic life. Waking up, eggs in the morning. Life's great.
I want to fold clothes for you. I want to make you feel good.
And then the cycle continues.
And you know
until
what?
it stops. And
And
eventually, again, it's a numbers game.
Mhm.
Eventually, you're going to hit your mark. Eventually, you're going to get your target. So you know what? Get out there, And just
and even as we're saying this, I mean, the stuff that we're dealing with too. So we're learning this as you're learning it too. So we know it's just not as easy as like, all right, well, AKA and Z and D told me to just like, fucking just drop everything.
That's
Indeed, told me.
If any,
They told me to drop
anybody
everything.
use that as a reference for.
They told me to be logical about the situation. They told me to be a fucking robot. That's what they told me.
Could you imagine? Well, ZD and AKA.
Hey, that's what they said. I'm just going off based on what they said.
They sound like a reputable source.
Exactly. Nah, man. Like we're learning just as much as you.
Listen, we know just as much about human beings, relationships, the interactions that they have with each other, and the right and wrong things to do, just as much as you do, which is absolutely fucking nothing. All we have to go off of is personal experience that we ourselves have experienced, and then the experience that we also have to reference from other people that are in our immediate lives or in our immediate vicinity or circle. But that's all any of us really have. But we hope that you take the information that was discussed here, take it with a grain of salt, but also try to, what we want to accomplish with this podcast is, again, we're three dudes, oftentimes with three different perspectives. On this one, we seem to be on a more unified front. Mm-hmm. Probably because we all been here before. Mm-hmm. So we all in agreement about this one. But we're trying to give a fresh new perspective on how you can take or tackle some of these things. Some of these things might not necessarily be so fresh, but I mean, we hope we were able to provide some subtle nuance to this topic, and then hopefully just be able to give some advice to somebody that might be struggling with this problem or this issue.
And if you still you feel like you're listening right now and you feel like you're in going through the same scenario, go ahead and comment down below. I mean, write down what your story is. I want to know what you.
And we'll respond to it.
Yeah, I mean
we'll respond.
We'll try our best.
I mean, listen, no, we're
responding.
Respond.
We're responding to each and every one of y'all.
This is so early.
I mean, there's three of us.
We're not responding to everybody. This is ridiculous.
This is three of us.
For what reason do we not have to respond? So actually, please comment. This would actually be like, we definitely will respond. Please comment. It's going to help our engagement. It's going to help us build our platform. It's going to help us to continue to have these talks. And again, in the comments, don't also talk about your personal stories, but also give us tips or suggestions about more things you'd like to hear us talk about. More things, even in this conversation, that you'd like us to expound upon. I know we kind of jumped around from topic to topic. We stayed on topic for the most part, but there are a couple of things that we hit here and there. So if there was something that you heard us talk about, like, I want to hear you expand on that more, feel free, let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. All that jazz.
All that jazz.
And closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Man, I don't know.
Give me that.
I don't know. I guess would I say that's as much as it?
That's that.
And I've been trying to.
Do we all say it collectively?
I think we should.
I've been trying to say that for the last 10 minutes, and y'all just kept on going, and now you just want to say it like that, all lacklusterly and shit.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So
1, 2, 3.
That's as much as it.
That's as much as it.
TJ, why you have to be all by yourself, man?
I said you
see, that's the point. You wanted to do it by yourself. You didn't want to do it.
All right. Gosh, cut. We'll start all over from the beginning, from the top.
Wild.
That's as much as it.